So as I told you guys, I applied to 3 police departments, and as of today, okay, February 3rd, 2025, it's looking like 2 backed out. 2 of them backed out. So now you see why you can't put all your eggs in one basket, because look what happened. What's up? What's up? It's Nika Ross. Welcome back to my channel. Shout outs to all my subscribers. And if you're new, welcome. Also, I want to give a shout outs to everyone that's currently in my membership program. Thank you guys so much for your support. I'm jumping in to give you guys a follow-up with my process to become a police officer. And also I have some current news or current updates that I want to also add to that. So I applied for 3 different police departments, right? 3 respectable police departments. And the process was going good. I applied to 2 of them outside of the state that I live in, 1 in the state that I live in. Of course, the one that's outside, the 2 that are outside of the state that I live in, it's pretty close. It's just like one of them is like 35 minutes and the other one is like 50 something minutes. Yes, I would definitely go to a different state to work. Absolutely. People do it all the time. So what's going on with that is I applied to the one in the state that I live in first. I applied to that one in November. I applied to the one that was 35 minutes that's outside of my state also in November as well, but further out, maybe like 3 weeks out. And then I applied for the 3rd one in December, right? Which is, that one is the one that's almost an hour away. So everything, the process, first you have to do the application. And listen, I remember saying this in the last video, and I want to say it one more time because this thing is serious. It is not easy to become a police officer. Just the background alone is out of this world. The police department's background booklet that you have to do is more crucial and it's more in depth than Customs Border Protection Officer. You guys, whoever, if you've been following me, I've also applied to that job before in the past. And let me tell you, their background booklet, which is called the EKIP, it has nothing on the police department's background booklet. It is something else. The reason why I'm saying that is because they ask you for people that you've been intimate with, romantic with, even if it's someone that you dated for a little bit, people that you have flings with. They literally ask you, like, within a time frame of all the people. One department said 5 years. The other one said, I guess, your whole life, substantial relationships. And I don't recall the other one asking about that. But that alone is mind-blowing. And not only that, but they're also asking for everywhere you've ever worked your entire life. So just those 3 things alone is like crazy. The first one is asking about people you've been with, like romantic situations, whether it doesn't matter how long or how short of the duration that you spent with this person. It could be a fling. They want their first name, last name, phone number, address. Like, when I saw that, I was blown away. I was blown away. Also, they want to know everywhere that you've ever worked in your whole life. So it's a lot of information that you have to gather and search and find. And then you realize that, oh my gosh, there are doors that in my mind, right, that was closed, that's now reopened. Things that I didn't even remember, I'm remembering. And let me tell you something. I made sure I listed every single job that I've had. Everything. Because I don't want to have any problems when I'm doing the lie detector test and they're telling me, oh, something doesn't add up. So I made sure I gave all the information I could, everywhere that I've ever lived, every job I've ever had, all the people that I dealt with, all the people that I've dealt with in 5 years, and all of these things. Like, it was just like, oh my gosh, like, it was a lot of information. I had to also go to my block list, okay, and call an ex to say, remember me? Yeah, I blocked you this much long ago. Yeah, so I applied to the police department and they want your information, and I gave them that. So they'll be reaching out to you. You know, even stuff like that, that's crazy. Like, can you imagine like having just blocking your ex for whatever reason, and then you have to call them up and say, hey, I applied for this job. They need to speak to you. I'm just giving you a heads up. I gave them your information and so forth. Like that is mind blowing to me. Okay, so that's why the Border Patrol's EKIP has nothing to do. It can't even match. It can't even match the police department's background. That blew my mind. So of course, you know, with all of them, you have to do the initial application, which it's kind of like a mini background in a sense. Of course, they ask you things, you know, that would automatically disqualify you. They put those out there for you to say yes or no to. And then after that, then you tell them about where you've lived in, like, I think it was like 5 or 10 years of your addresses and where you worked and stuff like that. It's like a mini background. And then when you actually get to the actual background, that's when they give you pretty much, it's like that into something much bigger. So the same addresses you put on the application are the same addresses you're going to end up putting on the actual background booklet and more, because they're going for your whole life. Right? So let me slow it down because I was on a roll just now, because this stuff is it takes so much of your energy, your mentality, your spirits. It takes a lot, you know, even emotionally as well, right? Because you're wondering and worrying, am I going to pass this? Am I going to fail this? What if something comes up? So it takes a toll on you mentally, physically, and emotionally to go through this process to be a police officer. So I would think that if someone is continuously going through everything, they really want it. Like myself, I really want it. So yeah, I don't care about the emotional, the physical, and the mental strain that it's going to have on me while I have to balance my normal life, because I do work for Department of Justice currently, and I do have a home. So it's a lot of stuff I have to balance, and there's a lot of people that depend on me for information or other things as well, you know. So I have a lot that I have to balance. So this thing is very serious to me, which is why I applied to 3 departments in the first place, because I have to get this. Like this is a must, right? So when I said let's slow it down, let's go back to the application process that I was previously speaking about. So the application process, you do that. The very next step for all 3 departments was absolutely the physical fitness test, right? Which of course I passed. I did way more than everything that they told me to do. If I was supposed to do 9 push-ups, I did 30 something push-ups. If I was supposed to do 22 sit-ups, I did almost 40. So then after that is the written. The written exam was very different from the one in the state that I live in. The state that I live in is different from the out-of-state ones that I had to do, which was very interesting. And I actually like the out-of-state written exam because it's more catered to being a police officer versus doing one of the written exam that's like math. You have to calculate and do all this math problems and division and all of these things, word problems and yards, you know, feet and stuff like that. But the actual exam that I did in the other 2 states, it was catered to literally being a police officer. Every question on it was what a police officer would do or experience on the job. So I don't know quite the terms of them. I know them, but I can't think of that right now. I just want to get through what I'm getting through. So I know people are going to be leaving that in the comments of the different police exams, entrance exam. Okay, so from there, of course, I passed everything. I never studied for it. I didn't even know the exam was going to be different out of state. I didn't study for it. I just went and took it. All 3 of them, passed all 3 of them. So I'm sorry, it was the application, the fitness, then the written, right? I just got ahead of myself. The run, I ran 14 minutes. My max was 18. I ran 14. You know, I'm pretty fit. My max run for the 1.5 mile was 18 minutes and something. I completed it in 14 minutes. So of course you want to get yourself in shape before you apply for a police department's position. That's, it's common sense. You're going to prepare yourself physically. That's very important. Like, you can't just sit down and say, oh no, I'm going to pass it, because there was a guy that was there. He was so muscular. I'm talking about, you could see every cut in his body. He had the muscles going. And guess what? I ran past him, and when I came back around, he was out. He couldn't even finish the run, because I guess he was more focused on weightlifting. But you better make sure to have your cardio in, because that's what's going to get you through that fitness exam. So after I completed all of those, the next thing was the written. One department gave it back to back, like the one that's out of state, the second one that I applied to, which is the one that's 35 minutes away. That one, they do their physical and written the same day, back to back, which was very interesting because they weren't playing. Because even that department surpassed the first one that I applied to, the one that's in the state that I live in. That second one became the first one. That's how fast they were moving. So I did that, completed everything, passed the fitness and written for all three departments. And then from there, one of them was to meet the chief. That was the very next thing to do. So I went there, which was the second one that's out of state. The one that's 35 minutes away. I hope you guys are keeping up with me. I'm trying to, 1, 2, and 3. One is the first one I applied to in my state. The second one is out of state, 35 minutes away. The third one is out of state, 50 something minutes away, right? So we're still talking about the second one that's out of state. So that one, that's the only one where I had to go and meet the chief. So after I completed the application for all three departments, then I was given a fitness exam, which I passed for all three. Then it was the written exam, passed that for all three. And then the next one after that was the oral board, right? So I did the oral board for all three. The very first one that I did the oral board for is Department 1, the one that's in the state that I live in. I was so nervous. Like, when I tell you I was so nervous, I was embarrassed by my nervousness at the end. But nonetheless, even though I was nervous, I've never had a board interview. It was 5 people in there. Yeah, 5 people in there. And they're just throwing stuff at you. I did get all my point across. Like, everything I did hit, every answer that I wanted to hit, right? So even though I was nervous, so of course I made it through that. So for all of them, I completed the oral board. I was good to go. And then the second department is the only department so far that I had to meet the chief. The other 2, I haven't done that yet. So the second department had an extra step so far, right? And then after that, I did the poly for 2 departments so far, which I passed. Okay, I have never in my life failed a polygraph before, and I'm gonna say that because I refuse to accept that I failed that polygraph for Customs and Border Protection, because I was never told that I failed. I was told that I was distracted. But anyway, that's a whole nother story, a traumatizing situation that not gonna get into right now. But I've never failed a poly, because every time I go inside, first of all, before I go, I make sure that all my information is given. So when I sit down and they strap me up, yes, no, no, no. And guess what? Everything's accurate, because I'm not going to go in lying. There's no way on earth I will go in lying. I am not interested, and I'm not willing to take the risk to lie. To me, that's dumb. I'm going in there with the truth. So after I did all of those things, right? The application, the fitness, the written, the oral board, one department had an extra step of meeting with the chief, which is the department 2, the second one that I applied to. And then after that, I had to do the polygraph for the first and the second department. I have not done the poly for the third department as yet, right? So for the first and second, I completed the poly and I passed. Not surprised. So from there, right, the first department, because I worked for another police department way back in 2012 to 2013, they had to send the paperwork to them. So, and then after that, they also called me in to do fingerprinting. And this is the first department, the one that is in the state that I live in. And that has been the last situation with them. Like I said, it's like they forgot about me. I reached out, heard nothing. Okay, so with that department, they were only moving forward with 5 people out of 30. So I was one of the 5, and the other 4 people were prior police officers. So I'm grateful that I got the chance to, be that 5, that they were pushing through. So I did not receive a letter that I was no longer in the process, but the point is, they forgot about me. That's just where that is. So that is just up in the air. But I have not received anything to say that I'm no longer in the process. The second one is now the first one, because today, right, February 3rd, 2025, I just did my medical and I completed my medical, right? So I did the poly with them, now the medical. And the last thing is the psych, which I have this weekend coming up. I have the psych with the second department that's 35 minutes away. The third department, I haven't heard anything from them except an email that I received saying that I am not in the process anymore, but the reasoning wasn't there. So I reached out to the detective and I said, hey, I received an email, but it's kind of weird. It's not like it listed every reason a person could be disqualified for or dropped out of the process for. It didn't tell me specifically my reason. So he said that he was going to follow up with them, but he believes it's a phishing email. I'm hoping that it is. I'm hoping. But he said it might be a phishing email because I forwarded it back to him. But he said that he is going to check. He doesn't know, for sure. But he doesn't think it's an actual email. I haven't heard anything back from him yet with that. And this was about 5 days ago. So at this point, I can no longer worry about the unknown. I'm just going to focus on what's focusing on me. That's just how we're going to do it. And that's how you should move in life, especially in relationships as well. You focus on who's focused on you, okay? In the workplace or new opportunities, you focus on what's focusing on you. And you make the best of it from there, right? So that's what I'm doing. Of course, I would love to have all 3 of them saying here, like, we want you. We all of us want you. Now, who are you picking? Of course, I would love that. But that's not what's happening as of today. As I said, and today is February 3rd, 2025. So far, 2 departments are no longer communicating with me, and one of them is, which I'm so grateful for. So I did get 2 conditional offers, right? The first one that's in the state that I live in, they did give me a conditional offer, which I accepted. The second one, which is out of state, 35 minutes ago, they also gave me a conditional offer, which I also accepted, of course. But I will let you guys know if anything changes. Yeah. So far, I'm moving with the second department that's out of state, the one that's 35 minutes away. I have to keep saying that because it's kind of confusing. But I'm very grateful. I have one last step to do with them, which is the psych, and that is this weekend, right? So I will give you guys an update on that. Okay, this process is a lot. It really is, and I really want it, so I got to go through whatever it is I have to go through. I'm willing to go through that, and I will go through that. Well, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment. I'm pretty active in my comments. I try my best to be pretty active in my comments, right? If you send me something and I don't respond, I didn't see it. And sometimes I have a lot of comments and I can't keep up with all of them. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to support this channel. Thank you.